to talk. Okay, let's now get some sense of the situation there and some of the dynamics from Timothy Longman, a professor of political science and international relations at Boston University, who's been following these developments in the DRC quite closely. Timothy, thanks for your time on this. Let's first start with the concerns by the UN that M23 executed children after they entered Bukavu, and some of these children are actually said to have had weapons. What does this say about the severity of the situation in Eastern DRC?
The situation has been bad there for most of 20 years. There are something like 100 different rebel groups that are operating there. Unfortunately, a number of them have used child soldiers. So it's not surprising that there may be some young people with guns. But of course, it's still against international law to target them, even if they are armed, unless they're actively shooting at you.
Well, the question that many have been asking also is, how did Bukavu fall so quickly? I mean, why is the DRC army unable to record any significant victories, even as the M23, march on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing in the sense that the military pulled out quickly rather than having an urban battle, because many people would have died in that case. But it's a little perplexing by why, once again, the Congolese military seems incapable of stopping these forces. This is a relatively small rebel group. It seems to be very well armed by Rwanda, and there are also reports that there are Rwandan troops on the ground, as there have been in previous conflicts in Congo. Their efficiency, their good arms has been successful in the past, so we're kind of seeing a repeat of what happened before. That said, we had thought that the Congolese military had become more capable, and in this case, they're really proving that they're not.
So what do you anticipate M23 could do next? In 2012, of course, they briefly seized Goma, left after international pressure. What does their end game look like this time around?
It looks to me a lot like what happened in the Second Congolese War back in 1998, where they captured Goma and then moved on down to Bukavu, and then they continued into Katanga and went to another very mineral-rich region where copper and uranium and other things are mined. And that's a path that really only got stopped last time because there was international intervention. Zimbabwe and Angola sent in troops. It's not clear what's going to happen now, but it would shock me if they didn't keep pushing forward. They've moved so quickly through Eastern Congo in this last push, and I think they are going to feel so empowered by their very easy victories that they're not likely to stop soon. I don't see an obvious end game at this point. It's not clear to me even what they're looking for at this point.
Timothy, if you can very briefly, what about the peacekeeping efforts? Is there any leverage the regional community, the international community have? We've also seen clergy from the DRC moving around, trying to hold talks with different parties. Could any of these, bear fruit?
Well, I would think the most likely to bear fruit would be other countries from the region. I don't think that the Rwandans are going to listen much to the international community beyond their African borders. But if countries like Uganda and Tanzania and Kenya put pressure on Rwanda to pull back, that might help to stop. Congo's a place where actually clergy have been targeted for violence in the past. The Archbishop of Bukavu was assassinated in the Second War by Rwandan troops. So I'm not clear that while the church is very powerful in Congo and has a lot of moral force, I'm not clear that they'll be able to have a lot of influence, because I don't think the Rwandans care that much. And I think they're moving forward because they've seen a lot of success and they're going to keep pushing.
Well, Timothy Longman, thank you so much for your time. And of course, Rwanda denies supporting M23, despite the reports from numerous agencies to the contrary of that. Thank you, Timothy, Professor of Political Science and International Relations at Boston